48 kills, Tarek GG, it's What the Moose here, and welcome to my patch 4.15 solo queue tier list. It's going to be my personal top 5 favourite champions for carrying solo queue in the current patch, and it's going to be from all the lanes, so hopefully you guys will enjoy. And number 5, we've got Yasuo. He has huge outplay potential, incredible damage, his ability to split, his ability to team fight, and literally carry games 1 versus 5. And actually, you know what, wait a second, I honestly think these kind of tier lists are completely and utterly useless, and I'm not going to continue the rest of the video telling you the top 5 champions to play, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I'm not going to continue in this way and hopefully offer you something that's much more beneficial than a top 5 champion tier list. I'm going to offer you my top playstyle tier list for the 4.15 patch. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen these videos before. There's quite a few about, and various YouTubers produce them for various lanes, and I'm not trying to hit on these YouTubers because obviously they're fairly popular, but in my opinion they are pretty useless. It's like saying, you know, here are the top 5 jobs you can get in this financial year based on how much money you get paid, how easy the job is, and how much holiday you get. And that's all very well and good, but what happens if the best job in this financial year is a baker and the second best job is being a mechanic? What happens if I don't want to be a mechanic and I don't want to be a baker? I'm not trained to be a mechanic or a baker, or I don't want to train to be a mechanic or a baker. Does that mean I can't have a job that I really enjoy that pays well? No, it doesn't at all. It's like saying, no, here are the top 5 films that are out at the minute. You know, it's based on what other people think, and whilst they might be the most popular, whilst they might bring in the most money, it doesn't mean that they're 100% the best 5 films out there, and it doesn't mean that if I go and watch another film, I'm not going to have as much fun watching it, you know? These top 5 tier lists are very subjective, and I feel that they almost force people into picking champions that they wouldn't always play, just for the sake of, you know, someone has said it's really strong, and just for how desperate some people are to gain ELO, me included. I'll do anything to gain league points, but it comes down to the fact that people see, oh my god, this champion's open, I saw it in XYZ's tier list, I've got to pick him, and they have no idea how to play him. You have a lot more success on champions you're comfortable with, and that's why I'm kind of developing this style of a tier list, where I explain the kind of playstyle and meta that I think is in the current patch, and how you can adapt your playstyle and what kind of champions you can play with regards to that in this current patch. So if we look at the current meta at the minute, you're probably going to be seeing lots of Tristanas, lots of Kog'Maws in Protect the AD comps, and other hyperscaling carries looking at the late game. As a direct result of this, you're probably going to be looking at Lucians to try and deal with Tristanas, to try and deal with Kog'Maws in the early game, and look to close out the game as soon as possible. In terms of playstyle to kind of counter this in solo queue, I've narrowed it down to 4 main playstyles. That's a patient playstyle, a fast-paced playstyle, aggressive playstyle, and a selfless playstyle. And let me first go by explaining the fast-paced and patient seem to be contradicting each other. You know, how can you be fast-paced when you're patient? And what I mean by fast-paced is that you're controlling how the game moves, you're controlling the pace of the game, and you're making sure things happen on your terms. And if you're doing that, how can you be patient and, you know, wait for something to happen? What I mean is, you're making things happen. You might be making small things happen, you might be making rotations happen really quickly, but you're patient with regards to picking team fights or picking the bigger objectives such as Drake, such as sieging an inner tower, and they can work together, and that's something that's very important to note in this current patch. You need to keep the pace of the game fast, but you also need to be patient, because if you rush and make mistakes in this fast-paced playstyle, you're going to suffer from it greatly. So some kind of champions that synergize well with this, and some kind of compositions that synergize well with this. You're looking at like poke comps that looks to get a lead early, keep the pace of the game really fast, but be patient with your poke. So, you know, perhaps you've secured blue buff, there's nothing else to go for, and you look to siege mid. Be patient with your poke and be patient with your engages. Equally, these kind of poke reliant comps are really good at defending against these hyper carry comps and protect the AD comps, because towards the mids to late game, they're going to start to look to fight you, and they're going to have power spikes. So having poke and also having wave clear is incredibly vital to dealing with the current meta in solo queue. So a patient playstyle and a fast-paced playstyle is core. And I seem to talk a lot about playstyles, and it's something I feel really strongly about because I play weird champions. My philosophy is, if I play Orianna, what's the difference between me and every single other Orianna player? If I play Syndra, what's the difference between me and all the other Syndra players? And the answer is playstyle. And I've said this before, your playstyle is like your in-game personality, and that's why I don't really like coaching people, because I believe it kind of alters your in-game playstyle or your personality too much. You can take bits of advice and you can take certain bits of playstyle and incorporate them into your own, but you need to keep your core playstyle your own. And that's so important, improving as a player and getting really high, because if you're copying someone else or completely changing your playstyle, you're never going to get better. By staying true to your core playstyle, you'll always offer something different when you play another champion. So if we look back to the other two playstyle types I discussed earlier that are heavily influenced in this patch, that are an aggressive playstyle and a selfless playstyle, which again might seem odd, why would you want to play selflessly in solo queue when you get rewarded for playing better as a team and often get punished for playing selfishly or selflessly? However, here we look to the meta seesaw, whereas if we don't see hyper carry teams or protect the AD teams, we're likely to see a split push or a pick comp in solo queue. And this kind of selfish, aggressive playstyle can obviously start from the lane phase and opens up a lot of potentially strong champions that wouldn't be strong in other patches. You're looking at potentially assassins, you're looking at counter split push. Again, wave clear is really strong at countering this type of playstyle, and you can incorporate the other two types of playstyle into an aggressive selfless playstyle. You can be aggressive and selfless and be patient. Again, it might seem contradicting, but it is possible. But what I'm trying to say is, you can play any champion in this current meta as long as you're aware of what the meta is and what the kind of playstyles benefit from this meta, as long as you're aware of what your current playstyle is, and if you can incorporate aspects of the playstyles that I've discussed into your own gameplay. And it might be fairly hard to understand and it might be fairly wishy-washy, but it really does make a difference to kind of consider these facts and consider, how can I play in the current meta without necessarily picking champions that XYZ said is the strongest at the minute. So a couple more points to consider with regards to these tier lists is that people often know what champions are strongest in the current patch anyway, simply through word of mouth, watching streams, watching LCS, or seeing the bans. And moving on from this, these tier lists won't be the same or won't have the same relevance for different ELOs. A tier list for silver is going to be different from a tier list for platinum. So, to summarise this video, the most common compositions you're going to be seeing in this patch in solo queue are hyper carry protect the AD comps, pick compositions, and split push compositions. My personal top 4 playstyle types of this current patch, and the playstyle types I think benefit most in this current patch, are a patient playstyle, a fast paced playstyle, an aggressive playstyle, and a selfless playstyle. And as I explained before, they might seem like weird combinations even if you have only one or two of them, but the core is to have a combination of these playstyles and incorporate them into your own, and having the faith to use these playstyle types on champions that you're comfortable with and not necessarily champions that are most popular or most strong in the current patch. So this video is kind of an introductory video for the style of video I'm going to be releasing each patch. I'm never going to do these top 5 champions or best champions because, like I said, I feel that they're useless. But hopefully now you're accustomed to the format of this video. In the videos to come for each patch, I'm going to be able to give you more information on what these playstyle types mean, what playstyle types are weaker in the patch, and how these playstyle types translate into champions, into compositions, and how you can use these playstyle types to enhance or complement your own playstyle. So again, this was a controversial video, and I really hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with this video. I'm not saying you can't watch these like top 5 tier lists for champions, because that's your choice and it may benefit you. I'm just saying from my personal opinion, I believe that playstyle types and relevant playstyle types in each patch is possibly more beneficial, and there's no reason why you can't watch both and kind of supplement one video with the other. I'm definitely going to be releasing more of these, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a comment, let me know what you think, we'll have a discussion. Leave a like, favourite, and tell your friends. Please subscribe if you like what I'm doing. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.